Let's begin with chapter number 3 from your political science book of grade 11, and the name of the chapter is The Origin of the State. This chapter is basically describing us how the state came into existence, this state entity, or you can say how gradually state got evolved, and today we are finding it is having different agents, especially government, which is ruling the entire state. So how it have came into existence from the, we can say, the primitive society when the early humans were there, and after that they started settling down, and gradually we are finding that human beings are becoming civilized and they are living in a state. So how this state is originating, basically you will find in your book that there is a diagram given here as theory of divine origin. So regarding the origin of the state, many a times many of the theories and philosophies came up. First and foremost was, and the oldest one is theory of divine origin. Divine, from the term itself you can understand, which is having a religious base. Okay, it is a divine. Next is theory of force, and after that is social contact theory. Okay, and few other theories are also there, like patriarchy theory, where we will find that the uh, family existence is there, and the male candidate is becoming the dominant character. Here is a patriarchy theory. Matriarchy theory is also there. Matriarchal theory, where we will find that the mother's role is much more higher than the father's role. And most accepted and widely, which is valid nowadays, we find the historical evolutionary theory of the origin of the state. I'll say there are three most popular theories. Three most popular. One is the divine theory, which is the oldest one. Next comes the social contact theory, as propounded by Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau. We cannot forget these three names whenever we say about the social contact theory. And now the most modern and the most relevant one is the historical evolutionary theory of the origin of the state. So let's begin the chapter. So the origin of the state. The state originated so naturally and slowly that it was only when human beings found themselves living in it that they began thinking about this question, how, when this state got originated. Because it was a gradual process, it was not a planned setup to make a state, or maybe it was not pre-planned one, or maybe not organized, or they were not sitting back and writing the document and then making the state. It was gradual development. So in the 17th and 18th century, we will find that the several thinkers, like prominent among them were the Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, came up with the theory that state is a machine or an organization that came into being as a result of the social contact between the people. Okay, between the people living in the prehistoric state of nature. They often, we will say that they offer, like Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, they offered a speculative. They are not at all sure, and we are also not at all sure about none of the theories. I told you about 5 of the theories, or they are not at all sure that how the state came into existence. Okay, they are just speculative theory of the origin of the state. So the first one included in your syllabus is the divine origin theory. So let us first understand what does this mean. Divine origin theory of state have been the oldest theory. It seeks to advocate that the state is a creation of God. Okay, no human being have made it. This was their belief. Divine. Okay, that means religious belief. Creation of God, and the king rules the state by God's will. order and authorization. State is a divine and not a human institution. It is ruled by the king on behalf of God. King is the representative of God on earth. This is the main, you can say, meaning of divine theory. So, what are the main features? State is a creation of God. State is a divine institution. King is the agent of God on earth. King rules by the right divine to rule. Okay, king has the divine right to issue commands which are laws and which have to be obeyed by all. Monarch is hereditary. Okay, monarchy is hereditary means that king's son will become the king. Now nobody knows that maybe the king was the representative, his son also became the representative. How that same family is getting the right of becoming, generations after generation they are ruling that state? How? This is a criticism, right? So however, each modern monarchy, we will find nowadays also the monarchical system is still existing, like states like UK, Bhutan, okay, Kuwait, Malaysia are still, we are finding that they are having monarchs. But at present we are not having that older form, or you can say the absolute power of the monarch, like the divine theory is trying to explain. Okay, they are having constitutional monarchy now. Monarchy system is there, the monarch is there, the king is there, or maybe the queen is there, but the maximum power is vested in the hands of the parliament. So what is the criticism? First one is not based on facts. No one can accept the view that first king was appointed by God himself. No king can give a proof of it, right? Next is unhistorical. Early history, it does not support this theory. It is based on mythology and not on historical facts. Number 3 is it fails to stand the test of morality. That means, as you know, the king is acting as a supreme authority, or you can say responsible to God only. He acts as a God on earth. So this is against the morality. He is not respecting anybody's thinking or anybody's dignity. Whatever he is ordering, everybody have to follow it. Number 4 is it explains only kingship, not democracy. It is totally against democracy, right? So these are the few criticisms. Next we are having the social contact theory. Social contact theory. So the social contact theory of origin of the state given by Hobbes, Locke and Rousseau have remained most popular. Okay, social contact, you can say contractual origin of state, that is state as man-made machine. Here they are trying to say no, it is not, it is totally against the divine theory, and they are saying it is not made by God, it is made by human beings, and human beings have purposely made it. They are also not saying that it have gradually developed. They are saying that human beings have purposely made it. Why? Because when they were in the primitive society, or when the human beings were starting to settle down from the primitive society, they came out and they started agriculture, they started settling down, different kind of civilizations we have read in history. So they are saying at that time there was no concrete state or no concrete rule or authority to mind all the citizens. So might be there was some kind of problem or chaos, or maybe they were facing lots of problems, lots of issues, from which they thought the easiest way to come out is to organize an institution and name it as state. So in order to solve their problems, they have made this institution and named as state. Human beings themselves have made it. Let's come to the features. Originally, people used to live in the state of nature. So, what does this mean? Originally, people used to live in the state of nature. That means that in which there was presence of neither state nor government when people were existing, as I told you, in the when they were getting civilized. That time neither they were having the government nor the state. It was a pre-political and pre-social stage according to Hobbes and Rousseau, but according to Locke it was pre-political but not pre-social state of nature. So here you can understand that Locke is trying to say that before the origin of the state, we can say that it was pre-political. The moment state got originated, politics came into existence. Okay, but before that, people were enjoying a pre-political stage. That means they were having the society and they were living in that. Might be there was some kind of problem or chaos. They were not able to fulfill their needs and they were not able to control the people. For that, they are demanding for this kind of institution. And Hobbes and Rousseau is trying to say that no, people were totally in the state of nature. That means they were not having any state, not having any government, and this is pre-political and pre-social stage. They were not so very aware about the politics and social kind of culture. They were just thinking about their basic needs and trying to fulfill it. Life in the state of nature. So Hobbes held that it was a state of anarchy and chaos. Might was a right and survival for of the fittest was the rule. So they're trying to say what kind of life they were leading in the state of nature. Hobbes is trying to say that there was no rule, no control, survival of the fittest. If anybody is stronger, he will enjoy all the all the facilities available. He can fight, he can take away the food grains, he can take away the property, he can take away the home, he can take away the cattle. Okay, if he is fit enough. Who will be more fit, then he will be gaining more of the natural resources. That person will become rich, right? And those who are not able to fight and sustain, they will just not exist in the society. So naturally people wanted to come out of this kind of situation because maybe somebody is physically strong and somebody is physically weak. But this doesn't mean that somebody will snatch away something from somebody else who is weak. Okay, the stronger cannot snatch away something from the weaker person. So here Hobbes is saying this was the main reason why they wanted to come out and make this social contact. And they wanted to have a state. Okay, Locke held that it was a state of peace and order based on natural rights. Men, as a social and rational beings, lived peacefully. However, they felt several difficulties, and for overcoming this, they decided to end this state of nature. Okay, they wanted to. Here, this is the point of view of Locke. You can say that he's trying to say that might be there was some kind of problem which we are not aware of clearly. So they were not able to fulfill their demands or their needs. So they wanted to come out of this situation and they gradually ended this state of nature and they wanted to establish this you can say government and state. For that they have evolved it. Where Rousseau is saying that initially it was a stage of freedom. The state of nature was freedom. Everybody was having unlimited freedom, or we can say negative freedom also, right? Unlimited freedom is the negative form of freedom. However, later on, based on the birth of selfishness, that is property, when human beings started understanding the value of property, that time human beings started become selfish. Okay, it became a state, we can say. Gradually there were lots of wars going on in the state and lots of chaos was there. This is the point of view of Rousseau. So Rousseau is saying as the selfishness came into human being, lots of wars were there, and to come out from it, people started gradually ending this state of nature. So thus we can say that all the social contact theorists agreed that the people living in the state of nature decided to come out of this stage for one reason or the other. Okay, now what is this social contract? Social contract is starting when the end of the state of nature and birth of the state is starting from there. For ending the nature of state, a social contract was made by people. Hobbes and Rousseau held that there was a single contact. Okay, single contact means Hobbes and Rousseau is saying that there is only one contact which human beings made, that is to develop a state. Where Locke advocated that there were two contacts, one civil and the other was political. According to Locke, the state had its birth through civil contact and the government came into existence with the political contact. Okay, Hobbes and Rousseau, however, held that the state of government resulted from a single contact theory. Hobbes held that the social contract resulted into the birth of absolute sovereignty, which came to be proposed by the ruler because of the terms of the contract. The ruler, the king, got the supreme power to protect its people. The people agreed to obey all the commands of the ruler to remain loyal to him. This is according to Hobbes. They are focusing on the king's power now. Whereas Locke is saying, however, held that the social contract resulted into the birth of sovereign community ruled by the limited government resting upon the consent of the community and limited by the natural rights of the people. I would like to say you that social contact always means there is a ruler and with the consent of the people the ruler is ruling. Let it be king or the government. Today our government is ruling us because we are abiding its rule. We have given our consent, we have given our vote, we have casted our vote, then they have got the power to rule us. With our consent they are coming to power, then they are ruling us, and with our consent only they are getting removed, right? So just because we are abiding, we are obeying, and they are ruling us. So it is a contact between them and us, because we are casting our vote, bringing them to power. This is the contact from our side, and from their side they are giving us protection, like they are protecting our private property, they are maintaining the law and order in the society so that there is no chaos, right? This is the contact which we are making between the man and the institution. Which kind of contact? We are giving them the power with our consent, we are obeying them, and they are coming to power and giving us protection with law and order. Thus, according to social contact theory, the state originated by a social contact made by the people who decided to come out of the state of nature. This theory held the state was a creation of human will. Okay, so they are not saying it's a gradual development. They are trying to say that it was a need of the time which people came out and decided to follow it. It is again having some criticism. This is also criticized. In social science, you'll always find there's lots of criticism to every point. So this is a criticism. First and foremost thing is unhistorical. So history of human civilization contains no proof of social contact. Okay, no historical event and came to be quoted to prove the state came into existence through the social contact. There is no proof. Okay, state is not a man-made machine. So this is the first thing they are trying to explain, and this is the first thing they are getting criticized, that it is not a man-made machine. State is a natural human institution which gradually got developed. Nobody was sitting back and making the plan. Okay, it gradually got developed, but they are not accepting it. No contact can be really possible within the state and the law. So we cannot find that the social contact theory wrongly advocates that the state came into existence through a binding social contact. This, you can say, the critics argue and rightly so, that there could be no binding and valid contract without the sanction of the state and its law. So they are saying that totally this theory is based on speculation. They're just speculating. This might have happened. There is no such practical evidence of it. Unreal of natural rights and law. So here we are not having anything so called, you can say, written evidence to follow whatever Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau is saying, but they are just speculating it. So we can end this over here by saying that social contract theory is not a valid theory. It fails to correctly explain the origin of the state. It has been also not successful in presence, you can say, presentation and acceptability theory of the origin of this nature and the function of the state. So it is not practical, it is not having enough evidences, so it is not accepted by all. Now one more theory is given in your book, that is evolutionary theory of origin of the state. This we are going to study in the next video. Thank you.